The fourth reason why people can't stop binge eating is because of unresolved emotional blockages. Now, if you're like many of our clients, in addition to struggling with binge eating, you're also struggling with internal emotional issues like low self-worth, low self-esteem, even self-hate perhaps, or negative body image, perfectionism, over-analyzing, overthinking, chronic worry, people-pleasing, perhaps traumatic events from your past that you can't seem to move past. Now, all of our clients are busy. They often have demanding jobs or demanding businesses. They've often got a full-on family life, a spouse, perhaps some children thrown into the mix. But the real reason why they're struggling with so much stress, so much overwhelm is not because of the demands and the responsibilities in the outside world. It's because of what they're doing in their internal world. They experience exponentially more emotional and physical stress than they need to be, because an entire day spent in low self-worth, self-hate, perfectionism, over-analyzing, chronic worry, people-pleasing. By the end of the day, it leaves you exhausted, on the edge of burnout, and in a desperate need of release. And what's the fastest way your brain knows how to give you that release? Food. Now, so far, we've addressed targeting the binge eating habit itself directly, by making sure that we address the correct portions of the brain, targeting the survival brain, and also making sure that we are replacing the hidden benefits of binge eating from the inside. Now, what's the difference with what I'm talking about here in this video compared to when I spoke about replacing the hidden benefits of binge eating from the inside? Well, sometimes somebody can develop binge eating without having these kinds of internal emotional blockages. They've got a busy life, they've got a lot of demands and pressures and responsibilities, and binge eating is either just a way for them to cope with those pressures, it's a release for them, or it's nothing more than just a habit like we spoke about before. Now, what we've spoken about in the previous videos is going to help that person to fully overcome their issues with binge eating. However, if in addition to all of this, they also have deep unresolved emotional issues like the ones that we've been talking about in this video, then asking somebody to eliminate binge eating from their life without addressing these emotional blockages is kind of like asking somebody to give up their addiction to painkillers whilst simultaneously exposing them to ongoing constant physical pain. They're just going to go into survival mode, and they're not going to have the space in their mind, in their thoughts, in their emotions to be able to address their training. Now, unfortunately, people often have the mistaken belief that overcoming these kinds of emotional blockages is long and slow and painful, and nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is, it's fast. When it's done right, overcoming things like low self-worth, low self-esteem, chronic anxiety, chronic worry, overcoming these things should be fast when it's done right. But unfortunately, we often get misguided and misled with a lot of the approaches that we get recommended. For example, we're often told that the solution is to dive into your past and relive all of the upsetting events from your past. But the more you focus on upsetting things, the more upset you become. We often get taught that the solution is to analyze the problem and dive into the why question. Why do you struggle with this and where did it come from? But all that ends up happening is that you end up with a detailed and intimate understanding of how and why you got stuck, but you remain stuck. Now, the solution to all of this is, first of all, understand the truth. The truth is that things like low self-esteem, chronic worry, chronic anxiety, these kinds of things are not disorders, they are not conditions, they are skills. Not particularly useful skills, but they are skills nonetheless. It's just that they're skills that we've learned unconsciously, which means outside of your awareness without even realizing what you were learning, and accidentally. Now, the antidote to these, the solution to these struggles, things like confidence, self-love, self-worth, calmness, inner peace, assertiveness, are also skills. They're much more subtle skills because it's not like watching somebody play the piano, for example, which is an observable skill that you can watch with your eye. It's an internal skill and it's much more subtle, but nonetheless, it is a skill. And the solution to overcoming these internal emotional struggles is not to dive into the past. It's not to analyze the problem. It's to fix the gap in your skill set. That's all it is. It's just a gap in your skill set. And when you dedicate yourself to mastery of what you want or what you need to replace it with, what you don't want disappears all by itself without you having to worry about it, without you having to give it any attention, without you even needing to understand why or where it comes from. It disappears automatically by itself, purely by dedicating yourself to mastering these skills from the inside. And once you master them, they just become an innate part of who you are, how you think, how you function. And don't take my word for it. Go and have a look at our client success stories, our testimonials, some of their videos, and you will see evidence of this fact. You will see evidence of some of our clients who struggled for decades with things like low self-worth, low self-esteem, chronic anxiety, who had been to therapy and counseling and hypnotherapy and CBT and NLP, and they had felt like they'd tried everything. But once we showed them the correct approach to their training, and that's what this solution is, it's training, just like you have physical training for your body, fitness training for your body. This is kind of like fitness training for your mind. When you dedicate yourself to mastery of these skills, then the transformation is incredibly fast. And again, don't take my word for it. Go and have a look at those videos and see for yourself. But once you do that, once you give yourself that gift of mastering these skills, then all of those internal struggles, those emotional blockages disappear. The chronic worry, the anxiety, the low self-worth, all of that is gone. And now you have freedom in your mind and in your thoughts and in your emotions to be able to dedicate yourself to the rest of your training, which is eliminating the binge eating from your life once and for all.